Fostering Black History with grants ranging from $10,000 to $250,000. I'm Amber Payton on the Black Information Network, your home for Black News First.
New Schools for New Orleans wants to send a special shout out to our partner, the All-State Sugar Bowl. During the holiday break, over 30 teachers have the opportunity to ride in the New Year's Eve parade, and boy, did they have a blast. In addition, we had over 60 teachers attend the All-State Sugar Bowl game. Out of the 60, 11 teachers received a $1,000 gift card to purchase needed supplies to enhance the learning experiences for their students. Thank you, All-State Sugar Bowl, for your commitment to NOLA's teachers.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK 1230 AM.
Wake up, New Orleans, 7:07. Yeah, 7 minutes past. The top of the hour, and Iron on the box. Dr. Wyatt, Dr. Shanta Wyatt, OT host. The two co-hosts with the most.
Nobody do it better.
Man, let's, well, first of all, hearts and prayers continue to go out to victims of all tragedies now.
Yes.
It just seems like wherever in the world they're mounting here in this country, to folk who are suffering, and I think 24 people now because of the wildfire
Yes.
in California. It reminds me of ancient saying, I think it was Confucius or Lao Tzu, nature does not have to insist. Nature, she can do what she wants. We can talk
Void
about
of discrimination.
We can talk.
She sees no color,
We can talk
no
about how
ethnicity.
powerful we are
Yeah.
and
No.
science and this and that.
no network.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
You can't compete with Mother Nature.
Yeah.
And listening to one of the fire experts yesterday, so I think it was one of the young, Caitlin, one of the young women from CNN anchors, and was asking her, look, what can we do? What do we have to do? He said, wait on Mother Nature.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think you could? Money can't buy every single thing,
No.
which brings us to the
No.
thing of this idea of the super wealthy hiring private firefighters to come in and save their homes. They've even gone to get the inmates from the prisons, and they're paying them $10 a day.
Well, they did that after Katrina.
Yeah,
They had
to fight.
Blackwater,
Yeah.
private armies to come
Yeah.
here and protect properties in certain parts of the area down here.
Yeah.
So no, you can't. You can't stop Mother Nature.
No.
Mother Nature is going to do what she wants to do.
And then to add insult to injury, there are stories coming out about individuals personally starting, brush fires while the wildfires are raging, which is exacerbating the fires themselves. And so that's another layer that nobody really could account for, because why would you do that?
Yeah.
But that's just the mind of a maniac. I don't know that we'll ever make sense of why people do the egregious things that they do. But
No, the simple part, and it's not simple. I think there's good and there's evil. There are some people. There are people who are content on doing God's will. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done.
yeah.
And just like there are people committed to that, there's the opposite.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Well, I for one, was taken aback when I first saw the stories coming out saying that they were going to get, and the 1024 is on the high end of what they were going to be paid per day. They were going to go get 800 incarcerated firefighters to fight these fires, because apparently there was some speculation about budget cuts. The police chief is saying, the mayor is saying, you know, and there's this infighting. But I felt like all of that was being politicized. I felt the same way about that situation that I felt about our situation here. It's this blame game when there's like the fires are currently raging, and this is what we're talking about. Who cut the budget? And then there were stories coming out saying the budget wasn't cut, that the budget was actually increased by multi-millions. So it's like now you have these media platforms such as Meta and all of the other ones that are on social media. They're doing away with fact checking now, and so you're able to just spew misinformation, disinformation, or just flat out lie, and there's nobody that can check it. And now you have masses of people believing something so important, and it's not even true. I still don't know the truth. Did the budget get cut or did it didn't get cut? You say they got cut by 17 million. Somebody said, no, it was raised by 50 million. Who do you believe? I don't live in California. I don't know what it is. But what I do know is when those wealthy people come together and start making demands, somebody going to start moving some stuff, and politicians, you know, have to get reelected, and things are going to happen.
Conservative news, the young woman, she went viral for jumping on Gavin Newsom.
Yeah.
You know, and he wasn't really on his
politics.
phone, you know, and then conservative outlets use that
politics
to bash him, similar to what happened here.
Yeah.
They were able to pick and choose who was complicit, who was incompetent. And we look, and that's what really makes what we do here so important. 504-582-9422. If nothing else, we get a chance to really be objective.
Yeah.
You know, yes, do we is there a little bent to maybe some of our feelings about certain issues? Yes. But we could always do the disclaimer. These are my views. These are not the views.
I say that all the time. This is just me. It's just me speaking.
These are not the views.
Yeah.
But we will objectively deal with it from different takes.
Yeah.
Media and mainstream media now don't do that. It's going to be extremely difficult now because social media will be void of fact-checking unless someone individually, I mean, people are using me now in terms of my tit for tat.
I saw that.
With the
I saw that. Which I thought, but here's the thing. I think one of the benefits of being a critical thinker is you can see and hear what's not being said.
Yeah, you can see the okey-doke.
So for me, I'm looking at it and I'm saying, like, you and the chief of police have always had a cordial relationship. So when I saw that, I'm like, wait, what's going on here? Because I know y'all were in conversation days and days before the meeting.
So there's some.
So I'm trying to figure out, like, how y'all just ran into each other like two bulls at the meeting all of a sudden. So I had questions, and there's no better place to ask the questions than WBOK.
Yeah. Well, there are some African American social media personalities who are supporting a particular candidate. They've already cast their lot, and they use social media to help her. They use social media to spin it that way, and that's okay. That's what they do.
But let's just be in all fairness, though. You're the chair of that committee.
Well, what happened?
Let's just be clear.
Yeah.
You're the chair of that committee. So if you're asking for vital information to be well prepared for your meeting that you chair, I think that's fair.
504,
even though I don't like the word fair. It's equitable, right?
504-582-9422. It was... and I'm, I have my moments. I'm human like everybody else. Get upset, disappointed, get angry, especially if I feel disrespected. What tilted it for me was that the chief and I had been communicating. I know that. Practically every day. I was other than her when she walked in with the mayor, I was the first elected official that she saw in the emergency room there. We were there, going back and forth between especially the two officers and what was happening, especially after the Bourbon Street attack. And we had spoken when we scheduled a committee meeting that I chair, and she and the CAO and the mayor had asked that we delay it. She had some issues with her father. She wanted to see him. She wanted to be more prepared. It just happened. And so we were speaking pretty much every day and communicating about that. But when we got to the meeting, there was this issue about, well, I'm not going to say this, I'm not going to do that. Nothing that I asked for was probing. We were trying to set a tone moving forward so that people could at least know this is what we're going to do moving forward. But the thing that really set it off was that when one of my other colleagues kind of cut in a comment, it was obvious, and they let it be known, that the chief had conversations about a sensitive issue that, but all the time she had been communicating with me.
You were unaware.
I was unaware.
So here's my thing. When I saw it,
I wasn't. I was good enough to tell.
I get that,
but not good enough to share sensitive information with the chair.
And I get that. And looking in on it, I'm saying I don't see any problem with her sharing the information with any council person. But why not share it with all the council people? And from my understanding of the video, the justification was that this person is the president of the council, so she gave it to the chief, gave it to her to disseminate to everybody. But if y'all had been in conversation all week and you're the chair of that committee, then why not just share it with you? Like, see, these little bitty things like that make everything politicized, and it doesn't have to be. There's no different than if she was the committee of a chair, your other colleague, and conversations are happening with you that ought to be happening with her.
That's absolutely
It's not okay to do that.
That's absolutely
like, we should not be playing politics when we literally have people's very lives depending on the information that is being talked about and figured out in these meetings.
Yeah, but you got to remember, the people on social media who use that to hurt me, they're anti our community, right? They have very little faith. Well, how would I say this? They're paid actors in many cases.
But I think it's just hurting all of us, though. I think when we have skewed views of what the facts are, it hurts all of us, because there are people who depend on certain pages. Everybody has a following. But if I believe in you because I'm following you, and then it's 30, 40,000 of us following you, and it's misinformation or disinformation, then it hurts all of us.
But that's your intent.
Because you can say what the facts are, but just go full picture. Because even me watching it, I was like, wait, this doesn't really make sense, because they don't have an adversarial relationship. So where is this like bully conversation coming from? And if your stance is, I spoke to this person because they're the president, then is that how all matters are handled? Does everybody talk to that person and then expect her to disseminate the information to all the council? Or can I just attach all y'all on the same email and say what I need to say? Like, we got to stop this.
All the information wasn't disseminated.
So that's what this is a problem.
If we're in discussion every day.
Yeah, then why are you leaving out certain things?
Especially if I'm working with you to accommodate you.
Yeah.
Then why?
It feels like a stab in the back. It feels like
it didn't feel like it was.
It was.
Yeah.
Well, I'm talking about me watching it because I know y'all have a cordial relationship. I know y'all are communicative with each other.
Right.
So why are we gonna get on the platform where everybody's watching? The cameras are here.
Right.
People got cell phones, and now we look like we battling when we don't even have a battle type relationship.
And it was an effort to try to discredit me.
I don't like it.
So those paid actors on social media could use that information. That's all part of it.
And it's okay to be a paid actor. If you want to be a paid actor,
that's fine.
But give the people who are following you the big picture so that they can have all of the information.
Let's go to the lines right now. 504-582-9422. Line number one. Sean, you're on with Dr. Wyatt and OT, man. Happy Monday. God bless.
Hey, God bless you guys, and good morning.
Good morning.
Look, man, you're going to have people that's, you can call them paid actors, you can call them, whatever. And they're going to be there, saying all kind of outlandish things. But, I just want to say, OT, I think you'll be a great person to lead the city if you choose to. But I will say that, in my opinion, in this particular situation that you're going to be in, I think you may have to just be a little bit more aggressive, and I'm glad you did call out that situation.
Thank you.
But I just feel like, in this climate, it's going to be, to be political correct may not be, the avenue for this particular election.
Great point.
I just feel like I just wish that, you be, more assertive, call things out just the way you see it. And, you may have to just forget about, just being, the nice guy, and who you are, But I just want you to be, be just like, man.
I hear you.
Just come,
and
come out.
I feel you.
You know what I'm saying? You know what
Absolutely.
I'm saying, man.
Well, Sean, one of the reasons why I went down that road a couple of times, and last time I got into it with a colleague, they went on WWL and called me a thug. I was the thug and the convict, and
Right.
And at that time, my mother had just died, so I was a little sensitive to anybody telling me their mother didn't raise them like that. That's not the thing to tell somebody who's especially going through. And then I can be a nice guy, fine, but I can be that other dude too. And I don't choose to be because it hasn't been productive in my life. But in this situation, no, it was blatant disrespect. And
It
so,
was.
and so, to me, I just had to let her know it was obvious that you didn't respect the chairman of the committee. It was obvious that you felt more comfortable talking to someone else when you and I were in communication almost every day. And so at that point, it was my breaking point for that particular issue. But what I've noticed, Sean, is a lot of the back and forth doesn't get anything done. So that's why I've tried to be at least manage my emotions. And man, look, I'm in an environment where you're dealing with people who got a lot of money, man.
I know.
They can buy. Look, they can buy people. They can influence people, and it's very difficult. So I'm trying to stay to my core who I am, but I understand, brother, and I think in many cases you're right.
Right. And you think this just one thing. I mean, you think, and I'm not asking you to be a Donald Trump by no imagination.
Yeah.
But the one thing I would credit him for, he told people and he called out the ugliness that's going on in Washington, the politicalness and the things like that. And people roll with him for that reason, that they felt like he's an outsider and he was coming in and he was getting on all the politicians that's playing political games. So, there's a lot of games being played in New Orleans. You understand? And if you can't call it out, and I guess it'd be just, articulate about it, but call it out. And I'm telling you, I really believe that people are going to stand up and come behind you, man, when you call that foolishness out.
Appreciate you, man. God bless you, Sean. Thank you, man.
Same here, man.
Thank you.
I mean, like for me, I think it's very simple. We have to figure out a path forward in terms of making certain that we're doing what is right for the city. You know what I mean? The game plan to self boast we are well beyond that. This city is in dire need of real true leadership. And every time I see a council meeting where that kind of stuff is going on, it's like, really, I know y'all don't have an adversarial relationship. So I was trying to figure out, okay, well, where's this coming from? It just looks like a bunch of politics to me. And I'm going to say it again. I have no problem with information being shared with the president of the city council or the vice president or even Freddie King or even any of the, but if I'm the chair of the committee and you and I have been in conversations the entire time, you're going to come to this meeting and tell me that there's information that you're not prepared to talk about with me. But then when my colleagues are talking, it's clear that information has been shared with them. Then what is this really about?
Well,
That's all. That's my only question. I don't
yeah,
like the game plan that I'm seeing.
Yeah.
If you're going to share it, man, look, all y'all on the same email, everybody get the information at the same time, and let's move along. Because y'all all got to come together to make a decision.
Well, Cornel West's book, Race Matters, is real. And, I've always tried to avoid that issue because my father tried to raise us to where don't use that as a crutch and don't be a victim.
That's not a crutch. That's a reality.
I understand. But, I come up under who I come up under. So it was always like in spite of, if people don't like you because you're from here, because you don't have this, because of who you are, then you move forward anyway. But it is becoming increasingly obvious that there is another agenda. There's another agenda with the press.
I don't. How these people making these
There's
misspellings on national TV?
I mean,
what kind of wings are those?
There's another. There always seems to be another agenda.
I need
bro.
to make you laugh because you gotta my whole thing is this.
No
here.
doubt about it.
I don't care to do, and I understand people say if you don't play politics gonna play with you. I get all of that,
Yeah.
but at some point, people ought to be front and center, and politics ought to be secondary. And if y'all gonna have these battles like this, why they got to happen in the council chambers with the TVs and like y'all got meetings in the back, y'all got rooms in the back, y'all got all kind. Y'all could go hash that out.
That's what I'm
and
used
then
to.
come to the
They don't do that
table
anymore.
unified so that the public doesn't know that there's so much dissension going on.
And that's what
This
that's
is a
what-
problem.
That's what used to happen. That doesn't happen anymore. People have.
Well, we need to get back
platforms.
to that. And I think there are
paid
people looking
actors
for a
on
leader
social
who
media.
can make that kind of stuff happen. Nobody wants no petty leader or nobody that's trying to one up the other one so they can make them look
Well,
crazy in the media. That's insane.
Do you remember when the news published my letter calling for a retreat
Yes.
between the council administration?
Yes.
I tried twice.
Yes.
I
Well,
tried. I tried
You
twice.
from New Orleans, try 3 times.
I tried twice.
You're from New Orleans,
Didn't
right?
happen.
Like my whole thing is
But I used to have.
that's what folk
private
are looking
meetings.
for. People are looking for a leader who does not have all of this. Like we can't come together and make a decision. Like that's what we can. Like we're literally grandstanding on each other, and everybody can see it. And I knew you were being played on in that moment because I was like, wait a minute. You have a better worker. Like I've seen y'all in conversation. She's been here. The mayor, I mean the police chief. I don't want to keep calling her she. Superintendent Kirkpatrick, right? She's been here. I don't understand where that came from all of a sudden. And then it looks like the big black man is bullying the little white lady. Like we don't come on now. We're not about to play these games. I think
but that,
at the end of the day, the
yeah,
people lose.
But that wasn't new though. There are people within the administration who pick sides.
It needs to stop.
They pick sides based on race, gender,
It needs to stop.
and politics and who they want to align with politics. That was just one time we saw it come out.
Our city is being lined up for a takeover. Do everybody not see
There
that?
are people within the mayor's administration who do everything to work against the mayor. There are people with the council who only work for certain council people. And that is something that, for me, that is new, right? There is no loyalty, all right? People cast their lot based on who they want to align with for the next election,
Yeah.
or who they want to embarrass. Now, so for me, there have been a couple of boiling points where some of the games that were played that got me to the point where, I got angry, upset. And then this time, it was obvious that there were games being played that it wasn't just about disrespecting me as a chair, that you could see that I didn't have the relationship with the chief that I thought I had.
Well, that's how it looked to me because I thought
that some of the
that
cordiality
y'all had a cordial
and
relationship.
some of the fact that in the article when I said
Yes.
that, I've learned to respect her, that there's a whole nother game being played, and it's a political game that I was not part of.
Well, at the end of the day, the only people who are losing are we, the people who have to look to our leadership for some level of guidance and then some level of truth, right?
Yeah, but think about it. Look,
it's harmful.
Look, the local press did an article about a motion and a resolution that I put forward.
Mm-hmm.
Guess who's the only person that left out the article?
You?
Me.
Oh.
Me. And that's not the first time. So that's hiding in plain sight. Now, do I go nuts because I know the local press already has sided with who they want to help politically? Do I go nuts because the level of disrespect, I can see it when you read the article and I'm the author? Right. I have voted against an issue that the public and community people voted against, and our newspaper gave other people credit.
You don't have to go,
and they voted for it.
You don't have to go nuts about it, but what you can do is talk about it in a way that people understand how things actually shook
Right.
themselves out.
Right.
You don't have to go nuts about it, but there's nothing wrong in talking about it and talk about it full picture, right? Even where you feel like you could have probably done something a little bit different. I don't need you to be the stereotype that they think you're going to be up there, but there's nothing wrong with calling it out if it needs to be called out.
WBOK 12:30 a.m.
What New Orleans is talking
And
about.
who's-
our station.
is our station. We'll be back after the break.
That's right. It's party time each and every Sunday night at 7 p.m. on WBOK. It's the Throwback Throwdown with DJ Wick as he brings you the best in old school from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and the early 2Ks. Plus, the party goes to another level at 9 p.m. with the Throwback Throwdown Party Mix to round out the night. It's the Throwback Throwdown Sunday nights at 7 p.m. on WBOK 1230 a.m. and on the World Wide Web at WBOK1230.com.
NOLA Public Schools' main round enrollment for kindergarten through 12th grade is now open. With 73 schools available through the NOLA Public Schools Common Application Process, or NCAP, finding the right school fit for your family is easier than ever. List up to 12 choices to maximize your chances and apply by January 24th. We're all in, and we hope you are too. Apply today at enrollnolaps.com. That's enrollnolaps.com.
Our military faces a crisis. Recruitment down. Morale weak. Our leaders more focused on going woke than killing terrorists and defending America. President Trump nominated Pete Hegseth as Secretary of Defense to change things. Hegseth isn't an insider or a swamp dweller. He's a decorated veteran of the United States Army who deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. And he's exactly who we need leading the Department of Defense. Hegseth will ban woke nonsense from our armed forces, strengthen our military, and make our soldiers proud to serve. Call your United States Senator at 202-224-3121. Tell them stand with Trump. Confirm Pete Hegseth as Secretary of Defense. Again, call your senator at 202-224-3121. Tell them to vote to confirm Pete Hegseth and make our military great again. Paid for by American Leadership PAC.
Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Jennifer Avegno, Health Director for the City of New Orleans. It's flu season, so now's the time to roll up your sleeves and get your flu shot. Flu cases are on the rise and affect every age. From handshakes to friendly hugs to touching infected surfaces, the flu can be transmitted to anyone, anywhere. Don't let the flu sideline you from all the fun things you love about our city. Getting your flu shot is one of the easiest things you can do to protect yourself. Be flu ready, NOLA, and get your flu shot today. Visit healthyheartcpp.org to learn more.
Welcome to Liberty Bank and Trust, where your financial journey transforms communities. Since 1972, our customized banking solutions power your dreams and fuel your community growth. Every dollar you invest with us circles back to empower more people, ensuring opportunities for generations. Join us at Liberty Bank. Together, we empower possibility. Visit libertybank.net to start banking with purpose. Liberty Bank. There's freedom here.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK 1230 AM.
We are back 34 minutes past the top of the hour. Dr. Ashanta White, the incomparable OT, the early bird, and Nyron Sanders on the box, man. But we told y'all he was coming. He's here. Dr. Clyde Robinson, man. Look, when you talk about not just black facts, right?
Facts.
Just facts, right? you ask a question, I'll be watching Jeopardy sometime. Man, I wish Dr. Robinson was sitting next to me. He'd know that answer, and especially if it's got anything to do with the diaspora and our stuff. Dr. Robinson, welcome back to the Good Morning
Good
Show,
morning,
man.
good morning, good morning.
How you doing, man?
One and all, I'm doing well, Sister Ashanti,
Yeah.
Brother OT,
Yeah.
good morning.
Well,
Good morning.
We are glad you're doing well, man. I'd like to ask you a question, though. It really, and I've interviewed you before, but I've never asked you this question. Here we are, you and Dr. Wild were talking about Kwanzaa. we're going to roll from this month into Black History Month. You foster and facilitate these conversations about Black life and African Americans in this country. And when we listen to critical data from you and others, even with the gains we've made, there are these major gaps in success. As someone who's a historian and as someone who's advocated for African American equity, fairness, and equality, how does that make Clyde Robinson feel?
Oh, well, it's a fact of life. I mean, if you were born in New York City in the late 1960s, 1970s, you woke up to air pollution, a great deal of it. Same thing with Los Angeles. It's what you wake up to every day. Our goal, at least my goal, is to prepare folks for their reality. Mm-hmm. And the reality is we are not cherished in this country. We have never been cherished in this country. I think it's a pipe dream for us to think we will be cherished in this country. This is, however, our country, and we have to fight to maintain our presence in it. And we have to endeavor not to just survive, but to thrive in it.
In spite of.
In spite of. And that takes struggle. I think it was Frederick Douglass who said, nothing in this country will be achieved without struggle. It never has been the case, and it never will be the case. And that was, 150 years ago? So I don't think anything has changed. In fact, I know nothing has changed. And as I stated only seconds ago, I don't think anything will change in the United States. It's been hundreds of years, and we're still in this country. We're still fighting to maintain our presence in this country. And for those folks who don't think the next 4 years will be hell on earth, I suggest that they reassess their current position.
Yeah, well, as you were talking, I was just thinking about the idea of nothing is given up by the oppressor. It has to be demanded by those of us who are oppressed in systems. But I also think that when folk discount race in any conversation, they're not having a real conversation. And I've learned to disengage from conversations where folk be like, well, this isn't about race. You know, when you got to give a disclaimer, then that's exactly what the conversation is going to be about. Like, I don't mean to be mean, but yeah, because you're about to be mean. You know what I'm saying? So I think for Black folk in particular, we have been stuck under this idea that we have to be nice, or we have to be cordial, or we have to be politically correct. And I'm of the mindset of why? Why? If you hit me, you don't get to determine how I react to you hitting me. And that is exactly what's been happening to us for hundreds and hundreds of, we've been hit in different ways. And then people just expect us to take the hit. Just take the hit. You know, don't hit back, take the hit. Like, why? Why? Why you get to insult me, but when I defend myself against an insult, I'm the bad guy? Why? So I think our way of thinking has to change. There's nothing wrong with standing firm in who you are and not letting anybody run you over. That doesn't mean that you exist more politely in the world just because you're not defending who you are, your whole community. I love this city. I just don't think that we understand what is happening here. That's why we don't have a real defense for it, because we don't think the hit is real. There's an orchestrated hit, and we are unprepared for it.
I think the Panthers said it best back in the early 70s, late 60s. Mm-hmm. When I was in Philadelphia, I was the office assistant to Bobby Seale, who was working at Temple.
Yes.
And Bobby Seale said that the thing that really frightened folks in California about the Panthers, in addition to the open carry policy that they had, open carry weapons policy, was that they didn't smile. We did not smile unless something was funny.
Yeah,
he said.
That's what I'm smiling for.
That's what am I smiling about?
Yeah.
That alarmed the power structure even more than, or as much as their open carry policy. I think you're absolutely correct. When you're in a country and you're being dumped on constantly, there's really nothing to,
be jovial about.
Be jovial
like,
about.
Why is the expectation that I have to do that when I'm under constant trauma, layers of trauma, but I have to show up in a different way than other folks are expected to show up? It's just innate that you look at them as the pillar of what professionalism is supposed to be like, and that's supposed to be some standard. I hate to have conversations, Doc, where folk are like, but white folk do this. I don't give two flying pancakes about what other folk are doing. My goal is to make certain that we're not asleep at the wheel.
Well,
that's all.
History also shows you that this country, there's nothing nonviolent about this country.
Come on, Oliver, you asleep at the bell.
Oh, no, absolutely.
December 7th, 1941. Mm-hmm. America was hit. What was America's response? All-out war, which 4 years later resulted in the complete dismantling of Japan. Complete annihilation of Japan.
System,
their way of life, their system, and was rebuilt under the MacArthur rule. It was rebuilt not in Japan's image, but in the United States' image.
Still today.
To this day. Yeah. So, there's nothing at all nonviolent about this country. I think Malcolm said it best when he was asked, Malcolm, if I were to slap you, this was by a reporter, if I were to slap you right now, you talk about violence, you're talking about violence. If I were to slap you right now, Malcolm, what would you do? Malcolm simply looked at him and said, I would do what you would do, only more of it.
Yeah.
So, it is a discussion of our reacting accordingly and then planning and preparing because we know hits are coming down the line. That's inevitable. Our institutions. Right now, Tennessee State, according to the information I've been reading, Tennessee State University is broke.
Yeah.
Almost unable to pay salaries. Tennessee State.
Yes.
Now, we're not talking about a private church school. We're talking about Tennessee State.
One of the most established
That's right.
institutions in this country.
Now, simultaneously, the state of Tennessee, according to the federal government, owes Tennessee State
it does.
2-point-something billion.
They owe a lot. They owe more than Tennessee State, like different colleges and universities around this. Absolutely.
Grambling and Southern,
absolutely.
1-point-something billion dollars owed by the state of Louisiana.
But they want to call them broke.
Well, cash in hand, broke.
Yep.
Cash in hand. I have worked for almost 42 years in the realm of education, and most of that time at HBCUs, and we've all over the country. And every one of our institutions that I've been involved with struggles. These institutions struggle.
Yeah.
And so we struggle for a number of reasons, but the main reason is we're not getting support from the people who owe us support. How do we get support? We've got to plan. We've got to maneuver. We cannot fall asleep at the wheel. We cannot have these lull periods when things seem to be good and we relax. And there's no relaxation.
And that's why I think you started the not only the Center for African American Studies, but the Living Legends Award, is to remind people that no, we don't have everything doesn't have to be Martin Luther King or Malcolm X.
Yeah.
But we have living legends.
Yes.
Unsung heroes and heroines. Unsung. And these are the people that we've been saluting since 2018. I did not start the center. The center started in 1989 by a young brother. Huh?
Yeah, I was part of one of the first Zooms.
That's right. You were part of the first Zoom. Yeah. I arrived in 2017. It had been well established by that time. But I did incorporate the Living Legends Award because we have to give flowers to folk who are not going to receive flowers.
Yes.
We know that some of us will receive flowers, but the vast majority of us who toil every day, all day, for decades, we go unheralded. And it is not somebody else's responsibility to acknowledge our people. It's not their responsibility. It is ours. It is our responsibility to identify folks who have toiled in any number of realms and uplifted our people. In particular, they've dedicated their lives to uplifting our people. And so those are the folks that we recognize and we salute as living legends. And this year we're saluting a dynamic sister, a relatively young sister. She's the youngest recipient of this award. This is a young sister who has worked in the realm of law, and she has spent her over 25-year career advocating on behalf of people who have difficulty advocating for themselves. I'm talking about Angela Allen Bell, who's a New Orleanian.
Yes.
From Uptown, went to Xavier Prep. From the Prep, she went to Northwestern State, and from Northwestern State to the Southern University Law Center, where she now teaches, where she now mentors. But she also is a legal and human rights advocate and is principally responsible for a number of things, one of which is the non-unanimous jury.
We got a break. When we come back, we'll talk about that, and we'll talk about, Angela Allen Bell, the recipient of this year's Living Legends Award with Dr. Clyde Robinson. WBOK 1230 a.m.
What New Orleans is talking about.
And whose station?
Our station.
It's our station. We'll be back.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have health news, a CDC update.
Pneumococcal vaccination is now recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose, and millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50.
Tune in to The Monitor's Mic, where we talk about oversight, policing, and you. Hosted by the Office of Independent Police Monitor. We're here to shine a light on policing issues that matter, from real-time policing updates to in-depth interviews. Every Friday at noon on WBOK.
New Schools for New Orleans would like to wish all of our educators, students, and families a happy new year. Remember, this is an opportunity for a fresh start with your goals. As always, be sure to tune in for Talk That, NOLA Education, every Monday at 12:30 p.m. on 12:30 a.m.
Visit DePaul's new Algiers Health Center at 2801 General de Gaulle Drive to receive primary and preventive care for both adults and children. Services also include behavioral health, imaging, and on-site pharmacy, vision, Medicaid enrollment assistance, and more. For appointments, visit DePaulCommunityHealthCenters.org or call 504-207-3060.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK 1230 a.m.
What 9 minutes past the top of the hour. Dr. Clyde O.T., the early bird. We are back with Dr. Clyde Robinson, Center for African and African American Studies, Southern University, the Living Legends Award 2025, a ceremony in honor of civil rights attorney, community activist, legal scholar, and author Angela A. Allen Bell, Southern University Law Center. Dr. Robinson.
The Dr. Robinson.
The Dr. Robinson.
Yes.
Well, I'm with the Dr.
Yes.
Wyatt and the OT.
You is.
Listen, I actually love her quote, "There is no expiration date on justice."
Yeah.
I absolutely love that, because I think oftentimes we are so boggled down from one crisis to the other. We don't realize that there are so many fights we're fighting on so many different fronts, but there's no expiration date on justice. And before we went to break, we were talking about like all of these monies that are being owed to our institutions. There's also stories out there saying a lot of the prestigious, in quotation marks, because we know people make buildings prestigious, right? A lot of these prestigious universities are built on land not even owned by them. It's owned by, we're finding out, Black families, right? And there's no real way to compensate these families. How do you compensate them for something that was A, stolen, B, people are still making money from it, and C, you're just now finding out about it? And how do you make a family whole when generations of them have died off even before you even knew what the reality of the situation was? So we're owed more than we even understand.
The federal government made that quite palatable with their law, eminent domain.
Eminent domain.
They want space, they'll take space and give you pennies on the dollar for it. For example, when OT and I grew up, which is well before
before me,
yes.
all we know is the Lafitte. But I met a guy who grew up in what existed before the Lafitte, and he said the government came and took their homes, which is where the Lafitte projects are. And now the apartments. And before he knew it, the Lafitte sprang forth.
Yeah, I mean, the city expanded beyond the little sliver on the river when it expanded into the lower Ninth Ward, New Orleans East, parts of the Seventh Ward, and Gentilly. That's how the city grew. They took property from people in the 1930s. I did some readings for the Tennessee Williams Literary Festival, where Kathy Randall and I performed. And in one of the readings, we talked about how in 1930, in the 1930s, Dr. White, when black townships, literally call it, were popping up and African Americans were purchasing homes and building property, they had outhouses. They didn't have plumbing and drainage. So the federal, because of health and sanitary reasons, the federal government targeted these Gentilly and Seventh Ward black communities so that you could build infrastructure. Documented, the council member, and I forgot what his name was, the council member said, "Why are we doing that? Those ends don't need any drainage and sewer. They can continue to use what they use." They took those federal funds that were designated to that community, and they built today, which is today Lakeview. The lifespan between Lakeview and that area where they took the money is a 25-year difference in lifespan. That's fact. That's history.
Yeah.
Which is why we need civil rights attorneys and community activists and legal scholars such as Angela A. Allen Bell. We need folk like her because, again, you know I'm big on lanes. Law is not my lane yet. So you lean on folk who have this level of expertise to help not only educate us, but empower us to know what our rights are and how to navigate these such spaces. I met this sister through attorney Ryan Thompson. I think she is dynamic. I am excited that she's being honored. So talk to us more about this ceremony that's going to honor her and bestow flowers on her while she can still smell them.
On Friday, this Friday, the 17th of January, we will be giving her flowers while she could still smell them. It will take place from 6 to 9 p.m. And it will take place in the Millie Charles School of Social Work, which is 6801 Suno Knights Drive, which is formerly known as Press Drive. This is the College of Social Work on the Lakefront campus. This is a free and open to the public ceremony and celebration with, of course, social fellowship afterwards. So it's from 6 to 9. The actual ceremony will take place from 6 until 7:30. And then post that, we will have fellowship and food, all free and open to the public. We would like the public to come out and celebrate this sister who advocates on our behalf and has done so for the last 25 years. Past recipients have been Malik Rahim in the
Shout
realm.
out to Algiers.
That's right. That's right. Brother Malik.
Yes.
Brother Malik Rahim, who was celebrated in the realm of community development.
Yes.
Brother Anthony Bean in the area of culture,
Theater.
in particular theater. Sister Mariama Curry in the area of culture, in particular dance. Sisters Jennifer Edwards, commonly known as Turner, Jennifer Turner, commonly known as Mama Jen, and
Jen.
Vera Warren, Sister Vera.
Community bookstore.
Community bookstore.
Yeah.
They were celebrated together. Dr. Keith C. Ferdinand. When I was a boy in the latter part of the 60s and early 70s, Keith C. Ferdinand had a program called You and Your Health.
You and Your Health.
On WBOK.
Like M. Tamishi
St. Julian, You and the Law, with this trouble book. In addition to that, this brother and his wife started a heart clinic in the lower Ninth Ward. As early as as late as the 1970s.
Patients, yeah.
That's right. So he was a living legend about 2 years ago. And last year we celebrated Brother Malo, Fred Malo Johnson, the creator of course, the Black Men of Labor, so in the area of culture, but he's also a housing advocate. Yeah. I think he has placed over 1,000 families, that's right, in homes, building generational wealth. So last year we celebrated Brother Fred as a living legend. In fact, 1 year ago today, we were sitting here talking to Fred about his forthcoming celebration and ceremony. And now we are here 1 year later talking about Sister Angela. So you'll see that in realms from culture to law, we are celebrating people who are not necessarily as well known as they should be.
Yes.
And so we're trying to remedy that. Yes, there are a great deal of people who whose names we know. There are a great deal of people who have received the big grants and the recognitions, but they are receiving the recognitions and the big grants. These are the folks who are not. And so, again, I'm cordially inviting everyone to come out on Friday, January 17th, from 6 until 9 in the Millie Charles Building. That's the School of Social Work at SUNO, and celebrate this sister who's doing so much for us. There's no expiration date on justice. Dr. Wyde, you just identified something very significant. And to accentuate that, no expiration date on justice, it was this sister who was strategically responsible for Plessy.
Oh, wow.
For Plessy being pardoned. Now, we know Plessy did what he did in 1898.
Right. But
no
centuries
expiration
later,
date.
There's no expiration date
on justice.
So she advocated along with his family, along with many members of the community, and maybe 3 years ago, he was pardoned. He's been dead for 130 years.
Yeah.
So there's no date, no expiration date on justice.
Absolutely.
Well, if you haven't been to the Living Legends Award, and I'm fortunate enough to have participated, Dr. Robinson, man, it is.
It's always.
It is
dynamic.
It is absolutely awesome, and,
Yes.
and for what you do to give people their flowers while they're here.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's always packed. It's a great event, and people, it's Friday, January the 17th, from 6 to 9. Come on out. I know the event has brought me to laughter, joy, as well as tears when you listen to the stories and you fellowship about the contributions. Yeah. Any closing thoughts before we end this?
Well, our people have, unique avenues to citizenship. Ours was not given to us. our citizenship was taken. And for those people who are making sure that we are treated as citizens and given all the rights and privileges of citizenship with this country, we should applaud them, we should support them, we should show our appreciation to them.
Until Nyron asks us if there's a heartbreak, and I know we're going to have the interview with Dr. Wyatt and Nikki Ewell for the NFL and their events after this. How do we start to prepare and protect ourselves in this environment? We have Project 2025,
Yes.
Federal, people are worried about.
Yes.
We have Project 2025 State. We have conservative bent, a movement now that seems to have captured where DEI is being canceled. The tech giants, some of the richest people in the world, have kissed the ring about DEI and fact-checking. What do we do as African Americans, especially given that we're always, if folk get a cold, we wind up with pneumonia?
If not cancer. We have to, again, understanding what I do, and we have various types of warriors. The military has various types.
And all types are needed, covert
that's right.
and overt.
That's right.
Battlefield and
methods of service.
And think tank.
MOSs, methods of service. You have various methods of service, from corpsmen to messmen to 111 Bravo, United States Army Infantry and the Army. So various methods. My suggestion is that we first inform ourselves. We've got to understand what we are going to face. And so as we fix our bayonets, figuratively and possibly literally, we must be informed. So the first thing we have to do is know that there's a Project 2025. But what's new? That which they are advocating for Project 2025 has been already initiated.
Yes.
And it's been initiated for quite some time. We, as an academician, as a self-proclaimed intellectual at least, I am advocating for information. I just received something the other day where there, in many places, to combat the removal of true information from schools, there are schools after schools that are being established. There are study groups being established by students themselves. And I know with my brother and me, that was something stressed in our home.
Dr. Robinson, folk, you're not a self-proclaimed intellectual. Those folk who know historian intellectual, you are. But is there a spiritual component to this also?
Oh, no question. Yeah, no question. And I combined having knowledge with spirit being one and the same. We can be robotic in our spirituality and just listen to people and believe what they say, or we could do our own research and find our own truths and realities. And that's what I'm suggesting, that we do the commensurate work, and that those of us who can should establish those avenues where information can be shared when, in fact, they can't be shared in the schools. We should be able to share them outside of the schools. And our HBCUs are going to have to continue to battle. We cannot capitulate. We have to be that beacon in the fog.
Well, I'll share this going to the next segment. Psalms 127, 1 and 2 says, if God's grace doesn't help the builders, then they will labor to build the house in vain. If God's mercy doesn't protect the city, then all the centuries / police will circle it in vain. Psalm 127. Dr. Wyatt, bring us home.
Listen, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, Dr. Robertson. I appreciate this event that you put on to make certain that you honor those amongst us who who are doing some wonderful things. But please understand that we also look at you and honor you as a living legend as well. I am always up to the conversation when you come here. So thank you for your service.
Thank you,
to us as well. We've been in conversation with the one and only Dr. Clyde Robertson, and we thank him for his service. And if you are free to attend the Living Legends Award 2025 on Friday, January 17th, 6 to 9 at the Millie Charles School of Social Work, 6801 Press Drive, please do so. Thank you again for being here. Thank you for what you do. This is WBOK 1230 AM.
The station you listen to
all day long.
Whose station?
Our station.
Yes, it is.
WBOK 1230 AM New Orleans. Home of the Good Morning Show, 7 to 9 a.m. weekdays.
This news report is brought to you by New Schools for New Orleans.
I'm Amber Payton with 4 things you should know from BIN News. Immediate evacuations are being issued as a new fire breaks out in Los Angeles. The Archer Fire is burning in the Granada Hills neighborhood next to Interstate 5. This new fire broke out late Friday morning and started spreading quickly. Meta is ending key diversity programs and disbanding its DEI team effective immediately. Employees are criticizing the move, which follows recent policy shifts like ending fact-checking. A federal civil rights complaint targets Washington, D.C. public schools over an empowerment club for Black and African identifying girls. Parents Defending Education claims it violates Title VI of the Civil Rights Act. The Office for Civil Rights has not announced if it will investigate. And St. Cloud, Florida denounced its racist past as a sundown town in a city council proclamation. Councilmember Jennifer Paul, the first Black member, called it a step toward unity and healing. I'm Amber Payton on the Black Information Network, your home for Black News First.
New Schools for New Orleans wants to send a special shout out to our partner, the All-State Sugar Bowl. During the holiday break, over 30 teachers have the opportunity to ride in the New Year's Eve parade, and boy, did they have a blast. In addition, we had over 60 teachers attend the All-State Sugar Bowl game. Out of the 60, 11 teachers received a $1,000 gift card to purchase needed supplies to enhance the learning experiences for their students. Thank you, All-State Sugar Bowl, for your commitment to NOLA's teachers.
Good morning, wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK 1230 AM.
We are back 7 minutes past the top of the hour. Thank you, Dr. Clyde Robertson. Living legends, right? Let's give everybody their flowers while they're here. Attorney Angela Allen Bell, one of the leading legal experts, man, especially when you talk about justice. And what's her comment? There's no
expiration date on justice.
There's no expiration date on justice, Dr. Wide. Wow. Great segment. It'll be at Southern and Millie Charles School of Social Work this Friday from 6 to 9. Like I say, I've experienced it. I participated. Don't miss out on it.
Yeah, and so I appreciate Dr. Clyde Robertson. I just wanted to segue real quick because we have some real things happening in our city. I know that there's some talk about Mayor LaToya Cantrell, and I guess in conjunction with the Attorney General in the Governor's office, talking about the their I guess intent to try to get rid of the consent decree. Am I correct in saying that?
To put it in the 2-year period where you have 2 years to totally come out of it. So you start the elimination phase of it. So it's a 2-year cycle.
And so what would be the justification for them wanting to? Is it like a fiscal issue or?
That they're in compliance when you talk about constitutional policing. And then secondly, for cities, it's an issue. They pay millions of dollars go to federal monitors in the federal government while you're in the middle of a part of a consent decree?
Well, I know that the New Orleans United Front has penned a letter. It's authored by Belden Baptiste, and they are in opposition of the ending of the consent decree. And I guess my worry and my concern is with all of the state rollbacks in terms of not even rollbacks, but with the state and the federal government's intent to loosen, I guess, the parameters that hold police accountable to us in many ways. They're rolling those back. Even the president-elect has said that he wants to give police the opportunity to be able to fully do their jobs, and that sounds like more than what it sounds like. And so that is my fear. So how do we make certain that we're safe if we exit our consent decree while the federal government and our state leaders are trying to do more to empower police to work without real accountability measures being put in place, such as like qualified immunity that they're currently protected by? They want to expand things of that nature. So how do we stay safe?
Let me set the table by giving people the definition. The consent decree can be thought of as a legally binding performance improvement plan. It is a court-enforced settlement agreed to by all parties and approved by the court. Consent decrees are legal tools used in everything from antitrust cases to law enforcement. So during a consent decree, that especially when you talk about law enforcement, it's because, like one of the comments is, law enforcement is not above the law.
Right.
Right. So you didn't have constitutional policing. You had police misconduct. You had abuse.
Mm-hmm.
You had the Algiers 7.
Yes.
Which is the area where you grew up in.
Yes.
So these consent decrees are there, especially when President Obama started his 21st century mandate. You would hope that there would be compliance and that there's not abuse, there's not criminal activity, and the police departments aren't being used as the gangs that many communities not only thought they were, but proved they were.
Well, this is one of the concerning factors for me as well. And inside of the letter from New Orleans United Front, it says, Liz Morrell's role in both investigating NOPD and representing the city in consent decree matters creates a material limitation conflict, as the duties and objectives in these roles may be incompatible. There are also non-consensual conflicts in this given issue, as the conflict appears non-consensual under Rule 1.7 B, due to the representation involves directly adverse positions in the same matter. A lawyer cannot reasonably believe they can provide competent representation to both interests, as the representation may be prohibited by law given the institutional interests involved. So it's a conflict of interest.
Well, so allegedly, when you talk about the challenges to Attorney General Morrell's position,
mm-hmm.
is that in compliance with the charter? You know, does the state constitution override the city in terms of her being party to remove the city's being removed from the consent decree? So we know that the courts
mm-hmm.
Will challenge that. Now, the other part about the city's been trying to get out of the consent decree for quite some time. One of the arguments that the city attorney made was that we were mostly in compliance. Well, what is mostly?
Right? Yeah, because that's vague and it's subjective.
What is mostly? And one of the things I'm sure the United Front and advocates for the consent decree want to see is not only what is mostly, but under what categories.
Yes.
Right? Are you compliant with traffic arrests?
Which brings me to.
Are you compliant with investigations?
Yeah.
Are you
the high level stuff?
Because
you might be complying with the low level, the low hanging fruit. Yeah.
So, correct.
Yeah. And so for me, I mean, the letter it's very well written. It says, in conclusion, we would like to inquire whether the mayor's recent motion to terminate the consent decree violates any legal protocols, specifically regarding the requirement to consult with the city council and legal counsel prior to such actions. Right. It is crucial to ensure that all procedural obligations are met. He says all, not some, not mostly.
Partial.
The New Orleans United Front says all procedural obligations are met, particularly when it comes to issues that may affect public safety and governance. So for me, I'm in this space where anything that the Attorney General's name appears in gives me pause, because and I'm glad that she's actually on our schedule this week to have conversations with, because there's some things I want to know, because she's made it very clear, you know, that she told a very a very direct line with the governor, a very direct line with the president-elect. That doesn't walk a very direct line with the citizens of New Orleans. So I'm concerned about her involvement in terms of impartiality, in terms of how do you keep the majority of this city safe, because the majority of this city is black and poor. So how do we have a seat at the table when it comes to, if we decide to get rid of this, where does that leave us? Because we know we are the over police community here.
Now, when you talk about the financial sides of it, it is a multi-million-dollar price tag.
Yeah.
To be under federal consent.
Yeah, well, we know money being made around there. We know.
Decree. And
yeah.
I mean, the monitors make $400,500,000 a year monitoring.
Yeah.
Right, from afar. Right? They come in every now and then. But the other
that's going to be the same thing that the guy's going to do, right? What's his name? Who's coming in here to make certain that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Now, you know, we're one of the best cities in the world at paying people who are not from here. We do that. All you got to do is say you're an expert, right? And we're going to fly you in, and we're going to give you a lot of money, and we have a lot of qualified people.
And meanwhile,
here
we get CTE from driving on our streets.
Now,
I'm just saying.
Dr. Wyatt, what I was going to say now is, other cities have settled with the federal government to enter the 2-year phase, being in partial compliance. But the definition of what those partial and what those categories
but what's non-negotiable though? You understand what I'm saying? Like if it's warrants, or if it's the way you actually police people, certain things should be non-negotiable. You shouldn't be mostly policing people the right way.
You can't get out of compliance.
Yeah, you're not absolutely.
If you're not compliant,
there are things like when I think about the guy, what is his name? That just got his sentence commuted. But he don't want it to be commuted. He actually wants to be on death row.
He wants to appeal. He wants to continue to appeal.
You know, but to do what though? Like to do what? Because I was thinking he just didn't want to leave out the protection of that nice little enclosed area that they're in and get put in with the regular folk.
I'm not an attorney, but I play one a couple times a month as a legislator. If his sentence was commuted,
Lynn Davis, right?
Yeah, Lynn Davis. Yeah, sentence was commuted. That means he would agree to the terms, right? But as long as he has a current sentence, he can continue to appeal.
But the way I read the law, because I ain't no lawyer either, but the way I read it is that the presidential powers are absolute. So they don't need his okay to commute his sentence. So he's on there saying like, no, I don't want to come off of that row. I want to go back. I don't want to do this.
Because he wants to have lawyers out there who review cases, especially.
But review what, sir? You're on tape.
To continue to
But you're on tape. I heard you, your voice.
Yeah.
Like you even told them what the young lady was wearing. Like what are you appealing? Let that family make peace with what you've done to them. Like that makes absolutely no sense to keep on like dredging up this kind of stuff. So, because I know the family probably felt a way about the sentence.
And that was the Groves family. And that brings chills to me, because my brother and
absolutely
Kim,
like being commuted, but he
friends.
He deserves to be where he's earned the right to be. And when you put the hit out on that woman, you deserve to be neatly tucked away where you are. I mean, because he was just vicious. And I feel like if we come away from certain levels of protections, we're going to have rogue police officers who are not even native to this community to even understand how to police it. It's just going to be rogue.
So then the question is, how do you balance the cost? Right,
how do you do that?
Of compliance. Is it worth the $7 to $14 million?
I think the first thing you do to balance the cost is stop looking outside for the ingenuity that you have already inside your house. Because why you got to go find somebody from New York, California, Oregon, Montana, all of these places to tell you how to police a place that they don't even understand?
The Justice Department. Department determines that.
You don't even understand. Like we ask questions and answer them at the same time. You don't even get that, right? But you want to come.
Determines
I'm just saying. Well, you ask the question though. You say, how do we balance the cost? I would say before you go to Home Depot and buy a hammer, go look in the kitchen drawer and see if you have one already.
Well, with federal oversight, you wish you could, but they can't. But maybe that's something that Congress needs to deal with because they are costly. But
so we won't have nobody here that could oversee these types of things?
They would have to be named by the courts, by the federal system. And that
sounds like a contract. That sound like let me go find my partner that
Dr. Wyatt.
I'm just saying that's what it sounds like a contract. But let me say this too though. I want to be very clear about something. When I have conversations with you, and I know you understand this, and so let's just make it very plain for the people. When I have conversations with you, I'm talking to my co-host, Oliver
Absolutely.
O.T. Thomas.
That's right.
I'm not talking about the councilman.
Right.
I'm not talking to
Right.
the person who people assume is going to run for mayor. I
That's
don't know
right.
what your aspirations
Right.
are,
Right.
but what I can tell you is my opinions are my own.
Mhm.
I don't have to, I don't know why folk think that I can't think independently of you because we sit next to each other. If I had an issue with you, you know that I would tell
think-
you, right? I would be like, I don't
I think that they would, if they thought that, they didn't know
they
you,
don't
and
listen.
they haven't listened. And they haven't listened.
Because I don't. Our conversations are organic. We don't have
Yes,
like
they
a
are.
script of what to talk
No.
about. If you throw a topic, I'm just giving you my opinion on
beauty
it,
of what
and
we
I'm
do.
giving you my opinion without knowing
That's absolutely correct.
whatever the layers are. I'm just
Correct.
telling you what I see.
That's correct.
So for me, I have no problem. I don't have no smoke with
Well-
with any council member.
Well, you have raised some very good points, right?
Mhm.
Because so what is compliance? What is partial
Yes.
compliance, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are the categories? And in a union negotiation, then there are certain things you're willing to give up, and there's one or two things
That you're not gonna budge
we're
on.
strike on,
Uh-huh.
right? So are they compliant in those areas?
Mhm.
And then under the 2-year degree, under the 2-year the 2-year phase to get to total compliance,
Mhm.
then how much does that cost, right? What are the areas that they still continue to focus on? What are what's the reporting,
Mhm.
right? And so there are a whole lot of questions that I'm sure that the United Front, as well as others,
Yeah.
would like to know.
And shout out to the New Orleans United Front.
Absolutely.
Because here's
Absolutely.
my thing. I think when we talk cost, I am one of those people who could care less about the dollars and the cents when people's lives are in danger. So if it still puts the public at risk, I don't care how much it costs. Y'all go figure that out. But at the end of the day, if we're going to take away a level of protection away from this city and we don't know what the effect of that would be, then we're not ready.
Yeah.
And right now we don't even know who's governing the city. I know I don't. I'm talking to Oliver, my co-host.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I don't know who's the lead agency that's supposed to be governing our city in terms of
is the Attorney General's role in compliance with our home rule
absolutely.
charter?
That's the question here.
Right.
Because for me, if
So
you have
those are
all of these
legitimate
municipalities at play,
Uh-huh.
how is the regular person supposed to know who's in charge? Like who's the point
Who's on
person?
first?
Who up at bat first? Like who's calling the shot? And I don't know that. I don't know if I'm riding down St. Bernard, if it's NOPD's ability to do what they do, or is it the state troopers? Because I didn't even know.
Well, let me say this.
I don't know.
Since you laid it out in full transparency,
Yes.
it is a very, very, very difficult position to be in
Mm-hmm.
because you want compliance because out of compliance costs people their lives.
Yes.
Out of compliance in critical areas
Yes.
is the reasons
People
why
dying.
there was a consent decree.
Yes.
Of people being abused,
Yes.
right? Of people being put in prison.
Yes,
right?
because it was Lynn Davis over here, but it was Shorty Raid over there in LGS by us, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Who did? But then on the other side, if I could put the council budget committee hat on, then there's this funding that you give to these federal monitors of these people who, in many cases, you look, man, they're getting millions of dollars, right, to do something that many of us think that someone local could do, or that money could go somewhere else. So it is 6 one way, half a dozen the other. But as Dr. Wyatt said earlier, the cost of compliance, especially in critical areas that put you in a consent decree, if there's not compliance, that means there's lives and
Yes.
abuse of the system.
Yes, and the thing about that is once we realize that there's no cost that equates to people's actual lives being taken, then we'll assess it differently. So for me, if we're not ready, we're not ready.
Well, this is a facetious comment, but in our conversation, I mean, just the thought is, if it's to keep us safe from the police,
Yeah, come on now.
then
Then where we going? Why we
then there needs to be a budget for that.
there needs to be a budget, especially.
Oh, that was OT the host.
Let OT the host.
so.
And I'm just saying, like, I feel like, in New Orleans, everything that we say here will be politicized, right? It's always like, oh, you're going to grab that, or you siding with that.
Yeah.
I'm about this city. I'm about this city's people, and I'm specifically about
Unapologetically,
this city's
1,000%.
children. I don't care whose feathers get ruffled because I'm saying what my opinions are. I don't follow the lead of anybody. I think for myself. I speak for myself. And half the time the disclaimers are happening because I'm speaking for myself. And it's like, that's not the opinions of the station. No, that's just me talking.
Yeah, but I don't even
It's just
think,
my opinion.
Look, the reason why this show is as popular as it is now is because of that. The reason why you and I are quoted in national news, and now you're quoted in national news and local news.
And I ain't asked to be. I ain't asked for that. I
yeah,
just was up in
but-
here doing my little black job, like with my big opinions. That's all. I'm not trying to
Bingo.
do anything but protect my city
Bingo.
and its people and our children. And until I feel like we could actually breathe in a place that we help build, I'm gonna always have big opinions.
And for folk who don't understand that, that's why it's a talk show.
Yeah. And that's what they pay us to do.
And-
Here.
yeah,
Well,
and
pay
they-
me to
they
do.
pay-
You volunteering.
But I come here to be a sponge on your brain. I come here to learn.
Yeah.
I come here to listen.
Yeah.
And I come here because there's a joy in what we do here with you.
And I don't think people
And it
understand that
matters.
I tell you exactly how I feel too.
Yeah.
I'm not just talking about other people. If the topic circles back to something and it involves you, I'll tell you exactly how I feel. I don't want anybody to think that my opinions are aligned with anybody's agenda. I speak for myself. I speak on behalf of this city. I'm an educator, so my first love and my first passion will always be children and schools. But I have an opinion about any and everything: sports, religion.
And the one thing we do
The government,
here is,
I mean, I
is
just have opinions.
We educate and we
Yeah.
learn. Line number 1. Good morning, Terry. Good morning. God bless you. On with Dr. Wyatt No T.
Hey, good morning, Dr. White and Oliver. How y'all doing?
We're
Good
doing
morning.
T.
All right, I love Dr. White. Everything she pointed out. All right, just see the police come back without the, they don't have the under restriction of consent decree.
Mhm.
I mean, who is going to monitor them and make sure that they don't go back to doing some of the stuff they used to do to the citizens?
I think that's the
they used
question.
to
That's
do
a really good
terrible
question.
things to the citizens.
Yeah, I think that's the point that the United Front and Dr. Wyatt are making. Terry, thank you for the question. So the question is, if you're getting into that 2-year compliance phase, then what areas have you been complying in?
Yeah.
What's the rating? What's the form? And we use the union as an example, right? There may be a whole lot of things that are part of the negotiation that I'm willing to give up.
Mm-hmm.
But those 1 or 2 that got us
I'm
to
not
the table
shaking.
that want to make us strike.
Yeah, and
what are
if that
they?
doesn't, and here,
What are they?
and that's the thing too. It's like, what I do know is when somebody has gotten in trouble for something
Mhm.
and they still want to do that something,
Mhm.
now they've had time to perfect that something. So how do I know? You understand what I'm saying? How do I know that you've not just gotten better? And I'm just saying,
concealing your rage.
Absolutely. So how do I know that you've just
Plotting
not
your
become
next
better?
move.
You're not going to get
Now,
caught
this
on a
is the talk show
wiretap,
host,
right?
OT.
You're not going to get caught on a wiretap ordering a hit. You know what I mean? You're not going to just openly be running a drug ring, in police headquarters. And it's like, how do I know that you've not perfected the way to still do wrong by folk? And you're asking me to just walk away from it when people are still saying our safety is being
Did
compromised.
we give you time to perfect your abuse? Right? Doctor.
I'm just putting it out there. I want to be comfortable in the city that I live. Like,
that's
we should not
important.
panic when red and blue lights flash. We should have some
important.
sort of understanding that they're here to serve and protect, and they're just trying to uphold the laws. But when the laws are being created to target certain demographics of people, then how can you say that we're ready to exit a
just
consent
have
decree?
You have to know the history of the criminal justice system. There was a time when studies would show that 30%, especially of African Americans that were part of the criminal justice system, were actually innocent. Many who
Yes.
served life sentences
Yes.
for crimes they didn't commit.
Yes.
That's why the Innocence Project
Mm-hmm.
and other projects came to be. So, no, those are all legitimate questions. But I think there are 3 outstanding that I think you and the United Front raises. Is the AG's participation, is it in violation of the Home Rule Charter?
Yeah.
Or our city's independence, especially
Yeah.
in those areas? And then secondly, what are the areas, the 2-year period
Mhm.
to be in compliance? what are the areas where have those improvements?
And I don't like words like mostly.
been made?
Some. I don't like those words. If we're going to exit, I'm with the New Orleans United Front. There needs to be a very a certainty around people
Not
being
almost.
safe. Like, I don't want to mostly feel safe in my city. I don't want you to mostly not kill us, and not be held accountable for it. Like, I'm just having
Bring
a
us home,
discussion
Dr.
with my
Wise.
co-host. Listen.
Great conversation.
Yeah.
And we gave you the definition of the consent decree.
Yeah.
We talked about the negotiation.
Yeah.
The role of the monitors. What is partial compliance?
Yeah.
Right. And yes, there are other cities that have been that with partial compliance have been able to come out of the
And
consent
until you
decree.
can get rid of them LY words,
But what
we need to keep revisiting this.
Bring us home.
Listen, it's been a dynamic show. We wanna say a big old shout out and thank you to Dr. Clyde Robinson for joining us, talking about the Living Legends Award. Up next, you're going to hear a conversation with Nikki Ewell, the NFL Senior Director of Events. She's going to be talking all things Super Bowl, all things fan experience. So stay tuned for that. But as far as the Good Morning Show and OT and Dr. Wyatt,
WBOK 12:30 a.m.
what New Orleans is talking about, we're going to see y'all tomorrow.
station?
Our station.
Our station.
Hey, New Orleans, Tavis Smiley here, inviting you to join me each weekday evening at 7 p.m. right here on WBOK 1230 a.m. for the Tavis Smiley Show. You can expect great guests and getting the answers you need to know. It's the Tavis Smiley Show on our new home in New Orleans, WBOK 1230 a.m.
Tavis Smiley. Ranked number 45 on the Heavy 100 list of the 100 most important radio talk show hosts in America.
Good morning. I'm Daryl Forges with WDSU News, and here's your headlines. Happening today, a judge will decide whether to move the consent decree into its sustainment period. The hearing is set for 1 p.m. at the federal courthouse on Poydras, and the public is invited to attend. Ahead of today's hearing, community members and advocacy groups are planning a rally in opposition of the police department entering a sustainment period. They're calling on the judge to reject the sustainment period. Today, the governor's office is set to announce its plans to house homeless people temporarily ahead of the Super Bowl. On Thursday, the court ruled in the governor's favor, saying no prior notice is needed to shut down encampments. Former LSU football star Kyron Lacy turned himself in on Sunday night following a deadly crash. Deputies tell us Kyron Lacy was booked in Lafourche Parish. He was wanted by state police for negligent homicide and felony hit and run in connection to a deadly December crash that left one person dead and 2 others injured. Lacy was released just before 8:15 last night after posting bail. And nearly 30 French Quarter restaurants and bars are coming together to support the victims' families of the Bourbon Street terror attack. Businesses are partnering with the Louisiana Restaurant Association to give back. One of the restaurants participating in the New Year's Day Tragedy Fund is GW Fins. Their featured item this week is lobster dumplings. So starting today through next Sunday, January 19th, all proceeds from this dish will go towards the Tragedy Fund for victims' families. There are several other restaurants and bars in the French Quarter participating in the Tragedy Fund. You can find a full list of their featured menu items on our website, WDSU.com. I'm Daryl Forges, and that's your headlines for WBOK. Have a great day.
NOLA Public Schools' main round enrollment for kindergarten through 12th grade is now open. With 73 schools available through the NOLA Public Schools Common Application Process, or NCAP, finding the right school fit for your family is easier than ever. List up to 12 choices to maximize your chances and apply by January 24th. We're all in, and we hope you are too. Apply today at enrollnolaps.com. That's enrollnolaps.com.
The National World War II Museum, located in the Warehouse District of New Orleans. The National World War II Museum tells the story of America's experience in the war that changed the world, why it was fought, how it was won, and what it means today. Visit them online at www.nationalww2museum.org for time tickets and safety information.
Our military faces a crisis. Recruitment down, morale weak. Our leaders more focused on going woke than killing terrorists and defending America. President Trump nominated Pete Hegseth as Secretary of Defense to change things. Hegseth isn't an insider or a swamp dweller. He's a decorated veteran of the United States Army who deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. And he's exactly who we need leading the Department of Defense. Hegseth will ban woke nonsense from our armed forces, strengthen our military, and make our soldiers proud to serve. Confirm Pete Hegseth as Secretary of Defense. Again, call your senator at 202-224-3121. Tell them to vote to confirm Pete Hegseth and make your pack.
I'm Howard Robertson, founder and creator of the Play Ode app. Back in the day, we used to ask, how you living? And that's still a relevant question today. Listening to good stuff helps you live well, like what you hear on the Play Ode app. ODE stands for Our Digital Entertainment, so you enjoy the best radio stations playing the best classic R&B, hip-hop, gospel, smooth jazz, news, sports, and podcasts. And new sounds are coming at you in 2025, so don't wait or hesitate. Download PLAYODE today.
Good morning. Wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK 1230 AM.
Welcome you to the Good Morning Show. I'm excited to have this conversation with you. I'm excited to talk to. Anytime I talk to boss women, I get very excited.
Yes, we have a lot of boss women in the NFL events department. No shortage over here.
And I see that you've been in this role for a little under 4 years, but you've been with the NFL for a little under 18 years.
Oof, yes, I have. I've been here a long time.
Yes. So it's so exciting to talk to you. I'm so excited that you guys are going to be in our city, our beautiful city, New Orleans, hosting the NFL event. So welcome.
Thank you. We can't wait to get on the ground. We already have some people already on the ground at the Superdome because we took over right after the Sugar Bowl. So we've been on the ground and we're going to keep on coming. We're so excited to get to your city.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being here. I am your host, Dr. Ashanta White, and it is my distinguished honor to interview Nikki Ewell, the Senior Director of Events for the National Football League. And we're going to pick your brain a little bit to see what you got in store for the city of New Orleans and its residents and its tourists for such a monumentous event such as the 59th Super Bowl. So what does your role as Senior Director of Fan Experience and Hospitality at the NFL entail, particularly when it comes to planning an event as monumental as the Super Bowl?
Yeah, so our team, we have a team based in New York, and we have a huge vendor community that helps bring our events to life. But we work generally on a Super Bowl for 2 to 3 years because we have really long runways according to the bid process. So what it entails is a lot of logistics, a lot of operations, a lot of great partnership with the local host, whether it's the Saints, the Pelicans, of course, the New Orleans Police Department, the mayor's office, the state of Louisiana, the governor. Everyone comes together because the Super Bowl is such a special event always every year, but also in New Orleans, it's one of our favorite cities. We, of course, love the food. We love the culture. We love how walkable the city is. But that causes challenges for us because it's very congested and it can be a little bit tight when you get to downtown. Parking inventory is tight, things like that. But we are we're fine-tuning our plans now, and we're excited to get on the ground and start building out. You're going to see us start building out the exterior of the Caesars Superdome with all of the hospitality products that we have. We also have opening night fueled by Gatorade, which is Monday, February 3rd this year at the Superdome. Open to all fans at a $30 ticket. That information is on Ticketmaster, but also on SuperBowl.com. So a lot of events happening throughout the calendar and throughout the city, and just really excited to get down there and get to work.
Listen, this is when you know you're good at your job, right? Because you're kind of going ahead of me. That was
I did. I'm sorry.
But that's okay.
I'm from New York. I talk a lot.
That's when you're good at what you do. So, listen, I'm excited to have the NFL in my city. I'm also very excited to see so many women in such powerful roles. Because when folks think of the National Football League, they instantly think that it's a male-dominated entity. But there are a lot of powerful, wonderful women behind the scenes making these events happen. So thank you for what you do on behalf of all women, right? Girls Rule. Can you walk us through the timeline for planning a Super Bowl and all the events involved?
Yeah, so generally the way we do it now is that cities don't compete as much as we choose them to host based on a lot of different factors. So generally it's about 3 to 4 years prior to hosting a Super Bowl so that you can get everything together from fundraising to renovations to the stadium, which of course the Caesars Superdome just did, and it's beautiful renovation if you haven't seen it yet. But we and that's why I want to talk about opening night a lot, which I can talk about later. But all the city improvements to the roadways and all of those things that are required when you talk about a Super Bowl. So it's a couple of years of planning, and then really probably about 9 to 12 months is when we start finalizing all of the space usage, all the venues that we are going to use, finalize our contracts, start meeting with all of the city officials and make sure that, number one, from a security and safety perspective, there's a non-negotiable with us. And we want to make sure that we're bringing people who are visitors to your beautiful city, that they're safe, but also the locals feel safe. We also want to spend time making sure that the events that we're hosting are reflective of the amazing, unique, one-of-a-kind New Orleans culture. And that's unmatched any city you go to, and you guys know that too. So we spend a lot of time with the mayor's office. Honestly, they put together a list of they called it a cultural practitioners list, but it was really a list of all the local artists that we can tap to bring that New Orleans flavor to all of our events, and brass bands and marching bands and artists and chefs and all of those things that make your city so unique. So that takes a long time to curate whatever that list is and make sure that we have a city that's ready to host for us, but also our event producers are putting all of your amazing artists and people to work. We also have a huge need for temporary staff, for private security, parking lot attendants, parking garage attendants. So we're putting a lot of people to work, and there's a huge local economic impact, but that takes a couple of years.
Which is my next question, because I heard you say that, and this is going to be Super Bowl 59, which is going to take place 2025. So when did the preparations for Super Bowl 59 start?
I'd have to see when you signed your bid, but over 3 years ago. Once the bid is signed, we start working with the city, the Greater New Orleans Sports Foundation, and that's the Super Bowl 59 host committee. They put together the bid, they do the fundraising that's required to host a Super Bowl, and then we start identifying venues. Your city is a little bit easier because we know some of the key venues that we're going to use. We, of course, the stadium, that's number one always, but then it's the convention center, which is an amazing hub. That's going to be the Super Bowl experience presented by Panini, which is the fan festival that we're hosting Wednesday, February 5th through Saturday, February 8th. That's also home to the media center powered by Verizon. So all credentialed members of the media will be accessing the media center, which is also in the convention center. We have a number of amazing places within the quarter that we're using for private hospitality. And then the biggest builds that we have, and again, your city is going to start seeing those come to life, are the events that we're hosting on the stadium campus adjacent to Caesars Superdome. And those hospitality products, we call them, they're going to take about 3 weeks to build. So you'll see us start building out the entries. We're taking down some of the graphics that are in Champion Square. We're storing those for you when we bring it back out after the game on February 9th. So you're going to start seeing some disruption to the downtown traffic. One thing we want to note for all locals is that if you download the NFL One Pass app, it's in the app stores now, that has all the information about all of the events that are public facing and all of the information about Know Before You Go for transportation and security and all of those things.
It sounds like it's going to be a wonderful extravaganza. Here's one of those important questions as a native to this community. This is an important question for me and all of our listening audience. How does the NFL ensure the residents of New Orleans feel included in the festivities, even if they don't attend the actual Super Bowl game?
Yeah, and that's a really great question, and something that we're always focused on when it comes to accessible fan events, right? We know that not everyone is lucky enough to get that coveted ticket to the Caesars Superdome on February 9th, but your city is poised to be one of the best cities that we can host events that make you feel like you're still part of the party, you're still part of the big game, even if you don't have a ticket to Super Bowl Sunday. So it starts with opening night, fueled by Gatorade. That is going to be at the Superdome starting at 5 p.m. on Monday, February 3rd. The two teams will be in town. We're going to celebrate the two AFC and NFC champions. Their entire team will be inside the Superdome. It's the only time that they're going to meet before the Super Bowl. We're going to have a lot of New Orleans style entertainment. We're working with a lot of different Mardi Gras crews to have some exclusive throws. There's going to be some marching bands and some local entertainment. So it's really a party in the Superdome. So we're hoping to have over 30,000 fans join us, hopefully more. Join us at opening night on Monday to kick off the week. And then we also have, and that price point is $30. That includes all Ticketmaster fees and all venue fees. And it's just a party, and nobody parties like New Orleanians. So we want to make sure we kick off the week right and celebrate the two participating teams. And then on Wednesday at the Convention Center, we'll open Super Bowl Experience presented by Panini. And that's the football festival. That's interactive games, player autographs, NFL shop merchandise. All of that, it's over 700,000 square feet. That's going to be down at the Convention Center from Wednesday, February 5 to Saturday the 8th. And those tickets start at $20 on Wednesday, Thursday. They go up to $40, and kids 12 and under are free every single day. No ticket required. They can just come on down. So a lot of things happening. The Greater New Orleans Sports Foundation is hosting some events as well. And all of that list of all the things to see, all the amazing photo ops throughout the city, that's all going to be listed in the NFL One Pass app.
Absolutely. And if you're just tuning in, we are in conversation with Nikki Ewell, Senior Director of Events for the National Football League. She's a bad woman, y'all. Listen, I want you to share some of the highlights of the fan-focused events planned for the Super Bowl here in New Orleans. I know there's a Super Bowl experience and a Super Bowl opening night. Can you talk more in detail about those events?
Yep. So I'll start with opening night because that's on Monday. That's the first big event of the week. The two teams will have arrived by that point, and it's really just a party inside the Superdome. If you haven't had a chance to go to a Saints game or see the beautiful renovation, come on down to the Superdome on Monday, February 5th. That's going to be the 2 participating teams are going to do their media availability. So we'll welcome over 2,000 members of the media. Will be inside on the floor of the Superdome on the field. We're going to protect the playing surface. So all of the members of the media and the players will be actually on the sidelines. We're going to have a stage in the middle, and that's going to be where we're going to introduce the 2 teams. The NFC team is the home team this year, so they're going to go first. Of course, we don't know who that is yet. And then we're going to have a joint team appearance that's going to be on the field, and then we're going to welcome the AFC team that's going to come out. So it's a big party. We're going to have a King of King Cakes competition. We're going to have a lot of New Orleans-style entertainment, a lot of Mardi Gras crews that we're working with to welcome the 2 teams. So it's just a big party. Gates open at 5 p.m. It's also an amazing way to see the Super Bowl stadium as it appears on game day. Everything inside the stadium, all the beautiful graphics and decor, it'll be up. So if you don't have a ticket to the game, come on down and you're going to see the beautiful Caesars Superdome as it's dressed for Super Bowl Sunday, which is an amazing thing. And then on Wednesday, the Super Bowl experience presented by Panini, that's the fan festival. People sometimes think that's just for little kids. It is not. There's something for everybody. There's exclusive merchandise, interactive games, and exhibits. Our full collection of Super Bowl rings, all 58 of them will be there, including, of course, the Saints 44 ring. The Vince Lombardi Trophy is going to be there for photos. So huge space that we're building out in the convention center for that. And that's, again, Wednesday, February 5th to Saturday the 8th. And if you don't have a ticket to the game, that's where you're going to go. You're going to come downtown. You're going to celebrate the 2 teams in the Superdome. And we can't wait to get to work down there.
Listen, I'm just excited just being in conversation with you. You make everything sound so grand, right? And so
it is. We have to show up in your city. Always.
The very best city, the very best.
You are right.
I'm excited. I'm so excited that you don't know. I'm so excited that women are in charge. Women are at the helm of making certain that this experience is the very best experience, not only for the folk who are going to be attending the game, but for the folk who can't afford a ticket or want to be amongst all of the festivities. So that's a really, really good thing to hear because, like you said, those tickets are hard to come by. But I know families want to just be ingratiated in the culture of the Super Bowl. So to have
and we want to be in the culture of New Orleans. I think this is one of our favorite Super Bowl cities because not only is it walkable and we don't have to be stuck in Ubers and traffic all the time, we can just move around the city, but it's also the food and the music and the art and the amazing Black culture, which is New Orleans. We want to bring as much of that as possible and bring you into the fold, not only put people to work, but and pay a livable wage and do amazing contracts with some of these business owners, but also make sure that the entertainment is top notch, which is always in New Orleans. And we're going to have a lot of artists that we're putting to work, and we're excited for those that are visiting the city, whether it's their 10th time or their first time to New Orleans, we really want to make sure that our events are reflective of your amazing, unprecedented culture, and we hope to do that justice.
Absolutely. So, Nikki, as the Senior Director of Events for the National Football League, what are you most excited for in terms of the experience during Super Bowl week? What are you most excited for the fans to experience?
I think those 2 events, because opening night to me is one of the most amazing events, and people don't always know what it is because you're celebrating your city, your people. It's all the locals. It's before everybody sort of comes to town. They sort of show up on Thursday, sometimes Friday. Who knows in New Orleans? They'll probably stay the whole week. You know how they want to party and eat good. But it's such an amazing event. You guys can take over Caesars Superdome and just have a big party that day. So we're excited about that. But we're also excited just for so much of the lifeblood of to be a New Orleanians. We want to bring that to life. And that culture is so unique in New Orleans. You guys know that. You own it. And it was something we met with the mayor, actually. And she was really passionate about making sure that New Orleans and the people of New Orleans, especially the amazing Black culture of New Orleans, shows up at our events and they see themselves in the events that we're hosting. And we hope we bring that to life, and we hope we make you guys proud.
So for all of our listeners, I heard you say that children 12 and under do not require a ticket. So let's just say we're looking for tickets. Where can we go to get tickets to these fan experience.
Super Bowl experience.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the best place to go for all your information is superbowl.com, and you're going to see some of the events listed there. Also, download the NFL One Pass app. If you download the app, you go to the top, you're going to see there's a couple of different sections, Pro Bowl and Super Bowl and Draft. You're going to want to go to the Super Bowl section of the One Pass app, and it'll have all the information of how to purchase tickets. But the tickets are available on Ticketmaster at both for both opening night, which is on Monday at the Superdome on February 3rd, and then also for the Super Bowl experience on Wednesday, the February 5th through Saturday, February 8th. So Ticketmaster.com, or the best way for me, because it has all the information of the clear bag policy, which will be in effect. So you can't bring bags to the Superdome. You can't bring bags down to the convention center. We want to make sure everybody's safe. They come in quickly and easily. So all of that information and parking, transportation, attractions list, maps, all of those things are going to be in the One Pass app. So we encourage everybody to go there first, and you're going to get all the information you need in order to start to celebrate that week.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Wyatt.
Well, thank you so much for joining us here at WBOK 1230 AM. It's been an absolute pleasure.
I can come over to your house for a plate of food, you said.
You absolutely can.
Okay.
I was going to tell you, when you come to the city and you're looking for authentic New Orleans food, have one of those Saints players or somebody show you to somebody's kitchen.
You know, that's a really good point. We're working with this amazing local Black female-owned business called Creativity Justified, my girl Karita, and she put together a diverse guide to New Orleans. It's going to be in the One Pass app next week. A lot of amazing restaurants, a lot of Black-owned restaurants are going to be in there, because we want everybody to know all the opportunity that it is around Orleans Parish, Jefferson Parish, all around New Orleans. We want to make sure people know all the good spots to go eat good. And so look at that guide to New Orleans. I think you guys will be proud to see a lot of your amazing restaurants that are going to be reflected in that. But we're ready to eat good. Always ready to eat good.
Absolutely. But now we have to meet. So when you come to my
yes, I will.
We have to meet. I'm going to hold you to it. But
okay, that sounds good, Dr. Wyatt.
For spending time with us right here on WBOK. Thank you, Nikki.
Thank
you.
We
appreciate you. We've been in conversation with Nikki Ewell, the Senior Director of Events for the National Football League, talking about all things Super Bowl experience, all things Super Bowl opening night, and preparation for Super Bowl 59. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Dr. Wyatt. Take care.
Have a great week.
This is your news update for WBOK 1230 AM from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Impact day due to wet roadways. A little bit of fog is possible as well, and chilly temperatures. Temperatures only warming to the low to mid-50s with mostly cloudy skies. A little bit of sunshine is expected. Winds coming out of the north at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Lows for tonight fall to the 30s and the 40s. We'll see a dry day for Tuesday and Wednesday with highs in the low to mid-50s. From the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Richard.
Find us online. Did you know that you can now listen to your favorite show whenever you want? How? Just go to www.wbok1230.com. Click on the Talk tab and select your favorite show. There you'll see your favorite host and the show from each day. And be sure to follow us on Facebook at WBOK1230AM, Instagram at WBOK.1230, and TikTok at WBOK1230AM.
It's Off the Top with Norman Robinson on WBOK 1230 AM.
The unimaginable happened in our beloved city early New Year's morning. A terrorist attack on Bourbon Street, wreaking death and destruction. As we pray for the victims and the families touched by this horrific act of inhumanity, we are reminded by our health experts that all of us have suffered a measure of distress, be it ever so subtle. Like many of you, in the wake of this tragedy that tore through the heart of our city, I am still trying to cope with the feelings of anger, despair, shock, and confusion. I reached out to my friend Dr. Corey Hebert, medical editor for WWL-TV, who says the feelings that we are experiencing are natural following a traumatic event. Dr. Hebert says whether we admit it or not, no one is unaffected by what's happened. He referred me to the National Institute of Mental Health webpage, where you can find information about coping with traumatic events. Health experts define such events as scary, shocking, or dangerous experiences that can affect someone emotionally or physically, leaving us with a range of reactions: anxious, sad or angry, trouble concentrating and sleeping, continually thinking about what happened. Mental health experts say most people will recover as those reactions lessen over time. If not, they are encouraged to seek professional help. Health officials also recommend some practical things you can do for yourself: avoiding the use of alcohol, spending time with relatives and friends who are supportive, engaging in exercise and mindfulness, or other activities that reduce stress. As we struggle to recover from this unspeakable tragedy, let's remember to be patient, kind, and compassionate with each other. We can reduce the stress and quicken trauma recovery with good behavior and gracious words. This is Norman Robinson, Off the Top.
Welcome to Chemical of the Month, a service of the community scientist and Rise